Hi everyone, Charlene here, and this is my discussion video for week 2. I will be answering the prompt, and I also will be including just like bits and pieces of the lecture videos that I've seen and the readings and how they both of like sort of like tie into this prompt and what I'm going to speak about. So out of the 3 areas we covered this week, which was self-concept, perception, and emotions, I find that the area most difficult for me to communicate with clarity is emotions. I had to do a lot of reflection this week. I realized that I feel emotions quite strongly, and not only do I feel my own emotions deeply, but I also tend to absorb the emotions of people around me whenever we're having conversations. And I think it can be a good thing, but it also makes it harder for me to clearly communicate what I'm actually feeling at the moment. Last week, we learned about the transactional model of communication and the idea of message overlap. So, when the overlap is large, communication is clearer and the connection between people is stronger. But when the overlap is small, then misunderstandings happen and communication becomes less effective. I realized that when emotions are brought into the mix, it has an impact on that overlap because it becomes smaller. For example, when I feel overwhelmed by emotions, I sometimes struggle to explain exactly how I feel. And I also realized that it is actually easier for me to validate emotions in other people than to validate my own emotions. When having a conversation, I can easily acknowledge the other person's feelings and try to understand them. But when it comes to my own emotions, I sometimes minimize them or even avoid expressing them altogether. Something that stood out to me in the reading is the idea of emotional responsibility. I learned that we are responsible for understanding and communicating our emotions in a healthy way and not being dependent on someone else to like validate your emotions and understand where your emotions are coming from. I really liked one of the mentioned strategies that were in the readings where you identify a specific object of the emotion, whether it's the action or something that makes you react a certain way. I feel like it's great because it contributes to like making communication clearer, because then you get to separate the person and the emotion, and you try to figure out why you're feeling this way and how you can go about it in a way that makes the conversation clearer